Yeah, how to fall and how to celebrate. Now, before I begin, honestly, as compared to my last talk, which was backed with lots of evidence, the literature is sparse on these topics: how to fall and how to celebrate. In fact, the first one is there are many ways how to prevent the injuries and rehab after injuries. But when you are falling, how to fall then? Literature is sparse, but still I have tried to do my best. Now, in sports, if you are playing, you are bound to fall. Let's go through this video. Some of these falls are very great to watch. I am talking general about sports. Can I have sound? Some please sound. A beautiful dive, falling in a beautiful. You admire it on the television, yeah. These diving volleys in tennis. Look at pace. What an athletic dive and fall and does the ball. You admire that. Others are probably too painful to watch. Like this girl playing badminton. Typical valgus external rotation, and you can guess, right? It must have been an ACL. And look this one, thumping on the floor, thumping her head on the floor. Basically, you see. Don't admire it. Ruthless. And this one, watch it closely. The whole hand is gone. So basically, if you are playing, you are bound to fall. If you go to the article on the epidemiology of football-related sports injuries, most of the injuries, as you know, lower limb and torso and pelvis are the most important ones, and it has been seen that 12 to 35 injuries per 1,000 playing hours in outdoor games has been reported. And this one, 50% of the ACL injuries, ACL very common, 50% of the ACL injuries are basically non-contact injuries. What I mean by non-contact, nobody is hitting you, nobody is pushing you. You are getting this injury because of a faulty landing technique or a faulty falling technique. So this data just signifies the importance of this topic, and as Sir said. So the question is how to fall. Basically, I'm trying to help how to fall. Now, in football, you can segregate the falls into two types. One is deliberate falls, like when you, as a goalkeeper, you're going for saving a shot, deliberately taking a dive, or a very special technique, that is a sliding tackle technique, in which you deliberately are going for the fall. Other ones are you're forced to fall, like in a foul play. Any infringement coming from any direction, you fall, or sometimes you're going for a header, you collide with the others and you fall, then again you are not aware where you are going to fall. The bottom line is, whenever you fall, you either fall on your feet or you don't fall on your feet. So the question is, the first condition, when you are falling on your feet, the stable landing on your feet. Now, three sketches here, all the three sketches. The person running sliding tackle is being done, he jumps, lands on his extended knee. Goalkeeper takes to catch the ball, somebody is lying down, he leaps over him, lands on an extended knee. He's going for a header, landing on an extended knee. All these three ways, when you're landing on a stable feet, all these three techniques are basically wrong, as that has been repeatedly said. The right technique when you are jumping and landing stably on your feet is this one, landing stably on your feet. Now, what is special about this is bending the knees. And all footballers here, all players here, all coaches here, put this in the mind of your player. Bend your knees as you are coming down. Bend your knees, and don't only bend your knees, keep bending after you have landed. This will absorb lot of energy and prevent an injury to you. This is the correct way of falling. And the posture, look at the posture. The knees over the feet and the shoulders right above the knees. This is how the posture should be. Feet almost same distance as your shoulder width. Now, this is a balanced position in which you should fall. And most importantly, especially for the females, avoid the position of no return. Now, this has been stressed very often in the past talks here. Now, what is that position of no return? Now, you see these two, a male and a female. If you ask them to do a half squat, what you will find, see the male posture. His knees are just over his feet, hips over the knees, over the feet. And see the female. Hips going in internal rotation, thigh going in adduction, knee going in valgus, leg external rotated, and the forefoot pronated. Now, this is the position of no return. This is the term that has been used, that if you tend to land in this position, you are very prone to get an injury when you are landing. So this has to be avoided. Again, the position of no return, it's not only the lower extremity, as I said, it involves the whole, the back, your hips, then the lower extremity, knee, tibial rotation, and your foots and all. So it comes from the whole thing. So this has to be avoided. So landing in the position of safety basically involves a balance and proprioceptive training. It involves certain practice sessions involving single leg hop and hold tests, and finally vertical jump and land with both knees bending and bending further till you have absorbed the shock. It also involves core strengthening, hamstring strengthening, plyometrics, definitely a gluteus and external rotator strengthening in your hip, and then finally you train how to land stably on the feet. A short video, because this is very important. This is the main reason, having ACL injuries, that you land in a position of no return. Sorry. Yeah. This is a single leg balancing, core strengthening, the planks. You see balancing, single leg and hitting, hamstrings again. Then you're through it. Especially I'm focusing on the females. Females tend to go for this position of no return. And then you jump and land in a proper way, knees pointing in the front direction, not going into internal rotation. So single leg hops, and then this is important to learn this technique. So now coming to landing on an unstable feet. Not always you will land on 2 feet in football, being a rough game, and sometimes you may not at all land on the feet. Like for these short clips, you see he's not landing on the feet. He's landing on somewhere back, hand or belly or something like that. So again, see, he is landing, banging his head on the floor. So sometimes you're not that lucky that you will always land on the feet. You may land on any part of the body other than your feet. Then what do you do then? So following tips when you're not landing on the feet. First thing is that you have to stay alert and anticipate that you are going to fall in such a bad way. Most important is prevent injury to your head and neck. Suppose you are falling on the back, most important technique is chin tucking in, and if you are falling on your belly, lift your head and your legs at the same time and try to fall on the belly like a paradiver or something. Injury to the neck and head has to be prevented. A cervical spine injury, it could be just fatal. Do not fall with arms extended like in this figure. You're knowing that you're not going to land on your feet. Don't stretch out your arms to take the support. You're going to break it like that basketball player. And whenever you get that opportunity, you have to try to land on the fleshy part of the body, basically the thighs, the side of your arm, or maybe the belly if you're landing straight front. The second tip, when you're not landing on the feet, even in an unstable manner, you're landing on some other part of the body. It's a very important technique of tuck and roll. Now this technique, you should deliberately practice on the sports field. This is tuck and roll. What involves in this is basically the principle of this mechanism is you're trying to dissipate the energy. The whole velocity with which you were running, you were pushed, and that velocity has to be slowly dissipated out. Otherwise, if you suddenly try to stop yourself, you will injure your body part. In other words, the term used is breaking the fall. Now what you see in this sketch is that the player will try to grab his knees with both his arms and then slowly roll over the back of his shoulders and then let the energy dissipate and then finally stand. He will never overextend his knees to catch the balance or suddenly put a brake on his fall. We have to allow the energy to be slowly dissipated in order to fall safely and prevent the injury. Now this video will try to exemplify it better. The forward rolling motion. How you should practice that even on a hard surface. If you're knowing the correct technique, you're not going to injure yourself. So basically what he is doing is when you're about to fall, pronate your forearm, turn your shoulders in, most importantly tuck in your chin to prevent a cervical spine injury or neck sprain, and then judge the depth of the fall by your outstretched. Just don't land on it, just judge the depth. Use the back knee to give a force in the rolling, and then just roll over the back of your shoulders and come up. So this is the correct technique. Forearm pronating and all that. What you should not do is that when you are falling, you should not suddenly slap your arm on the floor. Many judo techniques and all, if you see their videos, they will generally tell you to stop yourself by slapping it on the floor. But in football, that's not the same scenario. You are coming with a high velocity. If you slap, you are going to injure your wrist elbow and shoulders. Instead of slapping, try to dissipate the energy by standing up, by rolling. What if you are falling backward with a low velocity? Again, prevent injury to your neck by just lifting your legs and bending your neck. But if it's a high velocity, then again try to roll over. Again, bend your knees, grab them, chin tucked in, and then roll on the buttocks side of your shoulder, and then chin tucked in, side of the back of the shoulder, and then try to get up. This is how you should basically roll. What not to do, I have already said. Don't slap on the floor. Don't let your head fall back, and don't slap and hit the ground, because you will injure it. Let it dissipate slowly. I'm using the word repeatedly. Let the energy be slowly dissipated. Don't fall on the outstretched hand. As I said, you can injure anywhere, right from neck, shoulder, elbows, and sometimes you can't fall on the hand. Can't roll, and basically you're falling maybe on the belly. So this is the belly fly fall, which you tend to fall on the belly with your feet and arms lifted up. Special mention should be made to the sliding tackle. The sliding tackle, basically it is a useful technique but dangerous for both the sliding player and the opponent. It should be used as a last resort. When you are using it, don't hesitate and be committed to it. You must master the technique, and never slide with cleats up, means your foot pointing up like that, because it would give a red card. Or never from behind, never do a sliding tackle from behind. Now, a sliding tackle, if done in the wrong way, you see what can happen. So basically, he is landing, you see, on the straight, with trying to go somewhat cleats up, and so if you're doing it in the wrong way, it could be fatal for you. Very dangerous, career ending. Got ankle dislocation. The right technique basically involves that when you are going for the sliding tackle, don't run straight to the ball, run from the side, because this will prevent you going cleats up, what is like foot pointing in the upward direction. You should always approach from the side. And when you're coming, don't just extend your trunk, basically try to bend your body and then go into the shot. This gives you stability. You can use the other arm, which should never be extended. It should be slightly flexed to take the energy and balance you. It should not be extended, and then you should go and slide into it and try to hit the ball with your laces rather than going cleats up. So you must practice that first. That's very important. The correct technique slowly, and then you will master it. If you don't do it, you will land up in somewhere what the other player had. So finishing this landing techniques, if you're landing on both the knees, the principle is bend the knees and further go bending down. In girls especially, avoid the position of no return by proper training before you are going there. High velocity falls, the principle is tuck and roll, let the energy dissipate. When you're not landing on the feet, protect your head and neck and try to land on fleshy parts of the body. Don't ever land on the extended arms. And if you're going for a sliding tackle, play fair, but before that you must master the technique. Second part of the talk, how to celebrate. Now again, you can watch this for some great celebrations. You can celebrate in the way you want. It should be, as I said, it should be as theatrically as possible. Do a drama basically. Do whatever you can do. But you would say that it's a waste of time. Maybe the next talk will stress on time management. But science and research has shown that these ways in which they celebrate actually has a bearing on the game's result. So the evidence, basically, one of the articles in which they studied around 325 videos on 74 or 2006 World Cup and Euro Cup, what they found, they actually studied the non-verbal behavior after they had scored, how they used their head, the arm and the body to celebrate. And what they found was that players who were using both the arms extended above the head and clinching their feet and chest clinching their hands and chest expanded, these type of behavioral patterns, those players who were doing that after scoring a goal, they had more chance of winning the shootout as compared to those who after scoring a goal were not celebrating or just looking down and walking away. So basically what happens that when you celebrate in these fashions, it is a sort of expression of self-pride. Now the term they have to use is emotional contagion. This expression of self-pride and celebration spreads like an infectious disease among your co-players, and it actually it gives them self-esteem and confidence, and their winning expectancy increases, whereas the opponents, they get negatively influenced by that. So they have used the word emotional contagion. It spreads. It is not confined to you, it spreads. So they have, and this many other articles also have basically referred the same thing, that you must celebrate. That celebration spreads, it builds up, and it increases visual attention, reaction time, and processing of other teammates, and the effects of anxiety and fear are washed away, and you tend to have an approach behavior more, less of an escapist behavior. So these are all evidence-based data which say that you should celebrate with high emotional energy. Another article said that when you are celebrating, there is something known as a team oriented behavior in your celebrating. Like when you are celebrating, go to your teammates, go to the center of the field, contact more of your teammates while you are celebrating, rather than going towards the crowd or making less contact with your teammates. So the team oriented behavior has been said that there are those players who celebrated in a team oriented behaviors among each other, those teams tend to have a higher season end ranking as compared to those who have a self oriented celebrating attitude. So finally finishing, celebrate as theatrically as possible. Higher the emotional energy in your celebration, more is the emotional contagion. It spreads more infectiously among your teammates. It gives them always celebrate with your team, and celebrate with expressions of pride in your body language, which is booster for your team, whereas discouraging for the opponent.